Hello, everyone. My name is Dustin with Mars Hill Technology, and this is our Tech Talk series. If you're new to our channel, our Tech Talk series is a local series that we do here at Mars Hill, North Carolina, at the Mars Hill Library every Tuesday at 10 a.m. We like to give a little bit of information out to our local community, but I also upload these online to YouTube for other people to take advantage of, and also for our more rural community members that didn't get a chance to actually see these or want to watch them again later in the future if they're kind of unsure. But the series that we're going to be talking about in the next 4 weeks is navigating the digital wild. So the digital wild is your normal daily browsing and computer habits when it comes to the internet. So going on your email, going to different websites, things of that nature. We're going to be talking about all these over the next 4 weeks. So the first one we're going to be talking about is the apex predators. This is your modern phishing, smishing, and cushing. I hope that's how you pronounce it. Of how digital hunters set their traps and how you can develop the instincts to survive them. So these are a few of our little timestamps. I try to make these as brief as possible for people, and you're more welcome to skip ahead on the different slides to get the areas that you actually want to look a little more into. But it's all good information, I promise you that. So the first one is the crocodile. A crocodile never changes its prey or chases its prey. It positions itself at the watering hole, the one place every animal must visit to survive, and strike in a moment of trust. Phishing attackers do exactly the same thing. So in 2003, we used to see these mass email blasts, and you're familiar with the Nigerian prince instance, but they're easy to spot and they had low success rate. They took most of the victims were like elderly people that didn't know any better, or they wanted to help someone in that kind of time frame, and then unfortunately they sent them credit card information or wired them money or something of that nature. But it was an attempt to get to exploit people for financial gain. In 2015 and 2020, we started seeing smear phishing. Phishing. So, spear phishing is basically taking information such as like user information from like LinkedIn or Facebook or a company website, and using that information to kind of bring down the guard of a lot of people in their email. They might think, hey, the SEO or sorry, the CEO of the company is messaging me and I need to message him back, or this is someone that I connected to in high school or something of that nature. So they're using personal information to get your trust, and then they'll go through the facts after that. And they'll typically do blanket statements and stuff of that nature. So it is a shame, and there's quite a few people that still fall victim to this one. And now it's even more advanced. In 2024, we started seeing AI generated content, and it's almost identical to what a larger company would send out, or information that you would get from a personal friend or something of that nature. They might go back and get some sort of comment that you made and really make you think about if this is a real friend or not, because it's very, very convincing. And a lot of people, even large IT firms, are becoming victim of these because they think it's so legit that it would take a lot of effort to do that. And with AI these days, it's so easy to manipulate or make that data on the fly. So you got to be really careful when you're looking at these emails these days and everything. A quick tip, like a pro tip, if you go into your account, typically there's a way to turn off images when it comes to unknown senders in your organization, or if you don't have them in your contacts already saved. But this is a good way to kind of spot new people communicating to you, and you won't see their email. And a lot of times, if you don't see you don't see their images. And if you don't see their images, typically it's really easy to see fakes or not when you don't see the images involved as well. Whether it be LinkedIn or whatever, because they use a lot of these, banners and pictures and stuff like that to kind of influence their email and to making it think it looks a little more legit. So you can turn these off, and that's a good way. You also have the option to save them or automatically load those pictures in the future. And when I see something that has those pictures and they're not being generated, then I know I haven't corresponded with that sender before, and I haven't done the research and to trust it. Another thing is, if you're a little bit suspicious of an email or something of that nature, you can always Google the email address or use AI to try to figure out if it's phishing or not. That's a really good way to do for free these days. Just some tips to think about. Smishing is the a more modernized way of actually getting information. These are like common SMS or messages that you get on your like text messages that you get on your phone. You've seen like, hey, your package could not be delivered, like UPS or FedEx. A lot of times, all these smishing and phishing attempts have a sense of urgency, or they invoke fear of some sort. Like, hey, like you won't be able to get your package unless you give us your credit card information or update your address, because they're trying to collect that information for their own malicious use. Another one's like they'll impersonate your bank and saying, hey, you need to log into your bank and give me these details. They love to be able to get access to all your bank. And a lot of people fall victim to it because they've got a lot of money saved in their bank and they think something's happened. The final one is like a government agency. So almost 99% of government agencies are going to send you a letter in the mail versus giving you an SMS text that says something's wrong with your account or you're out, you don't have good standing with whatever agency or whatever. So be very cautious when you get an SMS from some sort of government agency. And kudos to the local agencies and state and federal for giving exposure to these phishing attempts. Most of them are sending out emails to people or letting them know, hey, there's a fraud going on that's impersonating our organization. Just be aware of it. So if you don't follow your local agencies, I would, because that's a great way to get information about attempts and everything. And tell your family members, hey, be careful of that. This is something that popped up in my email. That way they won't be victim of it. Why is SMS more dangerous than like phishing attempts? There's no spam filter. So if you're getting a message on your phone, it's there's no spam that's saying like, hey, this is spam, or any kind of email filtering on the SMS. It's just going to come to your phone, unfortunately. There's we trust text a little bit more. So we're used to texting with friends and family members or colleagues or whatever it might be, and we kind of keep our guard down when it comes to SMS, and we should treat it just like a normal phishing attempt. So kind of look at that when you're looking at your SMSs getting sent to you from unknown sources. 96% of us is an open rate for SMS text messages within 3 minutes. So emails might be a day or two, and some people don't check their email but like twice a week, maybe once a month. So the rate in which people check their emails is a lot less frequent than having the cell phone in their pocket, because they'll hear that ping and then they'll go into their phone and see if their friend or something sent them a message and it's some sort of threat actor trying to get information on them. So the next animal that we're talking about is a trapdoor spider, or I should say insect or arachnid. So the trapdoor spider, they build a perfectly camouflaged door flush with the jungle floor. When prey steps on it, the door gives away. A malicious QR code is the same kind of trap. It looks exactly like the surface you expect until you step through it. So you see a lot of this with QR codes on tampered restaurant QR menus. So during COVID, a lot of restaurants went to QR codes to get rid of paper menus that might transmit germs or disease or something of that nature through COVID. And they started putting QR codes, because QR codes you could scan and you could get the information on their website and you could look at the menu that way. So they didn't have to clean as much or risk infecting someone or whatever with COVID at that time. So QR codes become a big thing, and you start seeing them a lot more. But QR codes, unfortunately, you don't know where that link goes to. So there's a couple of ways you can kind of avoid issues when it comes to QR codes. One, just go ahead and navigate to whatever link you think it's going to go to. So if it's a restaurant and they have their menu on their restaurant, typically you can just go on your phone and you can get the link for their actual restaurant, and you'll see the menu that way. So I always do my independent research when it comes to like QR codes. If it's linking to their website, I just go to the website directly myself and I don't scan the QR code. But if you have to use a QR code, when you look at it through your like scanner on your phone app or whatever, it'll usually show the link below that you're about to navigate to. So just be really careful of that. If you're parking in a city or whatever, a lot of people are putting stickers on top of the QR codes. So be very weary of QR code stickers on the sign. I like to go and navigate to if you're on Apple, I like to go to the App Store, and I look for the actual application that it wants us to download. If you're on Google, you'll do the same through. In the Google store, you'll look for that actual app that they're mentioning on the sign. And I downloaded directly from a verified source, which is their those application stores. So don't scan a QR code, even if there's one on the sign. I would do the little bit of extra work and actually go to the app store and download it, because it'll be verified on their store. So QR codes and emails, these bypass a lot of corporate security filters. Email security scans links, and typically they won't scan an image. A lot of corporate environments will actually have where they automatically turn off those images when they get sent in emails, but every once in a while they'll get slipped through the cracks, or you might display the images not knowing, and you scan it with bring your own device kind of thing, like your own personal device at the workplace, and then you've exposed your workplace to something, or you navigate to it on your company computer. So be very careful whenever you're like seeing QR codes and emails as well, because those sometimes they'll go by even those really strict corporate ruling. So this is an anatomy of the trap. So there's the bait, the hook, and then the line. So the bait is your lure, and this is like what kind of prompt they're going to give you. Hey, your account's locked, your package is being held, suspicious login detected, or you've won a prize. So the hook is the action that they're wanting you to do. So you click the link, scan that QR code, reply with your info, call that number, or download the file. So, and finally, the whole thing that they're trying to do is the fish, which is the harvest. You're getting your password, login information. They're trying to collect that from you, your credit card information, social security numbers, malware downloaded, and then a remote access tool. So a remote access tool, that those that don't know, that allows another user to be able to take control of your computer or observe it. So it's very, very bad if you're downloading some sort of remote access tool and allowing someone to use it and you don't trust them and you didn't seek that information of help, when it comes to a remote access tool. If anyone ever says, hey, I need you to download this program so I can see what's going on your computer, it's immediately 3,000 red flags up in the air. So be very careful whenever you're doing remote access tools. Only for verified people, and I'd make them go through everything known to man to verify themselves beforehand. So why do smart people fall for this? Well, a big time is the urgency. It's like act now or lose access forever. So that urgency makes you kind of shut down your normal sense when it comes to like being bad or not. So I've got it right down. It shuts down your prefrontal cortex. So that's where it makes your brain think critically. So you might not think about it in that instance because you're thinking urgent. In the military, what we did is we had to go through these environments where you're always under increased stress, and you're kind of made to think rationally versus instinctively when it comes to stuff, because you're just always being yelled at and in these environments. So you kind of start thinking more in the fact that you're following certain people's orders and that you're not going to do what you normally would do. So you would follow whoever's orders. So they kind of reprogrammed you that way. But that's a big part, is urgency. Authority is the next one. So they might be like your IRS, your bank, or your boss sending you something. So you're automatically wired into thinking like these people are, important, and that we need to make sure that we respond to them of the fear of losing respect or not being able to hold compliance in a company. Fear is a big part of it, especially with elderly people. They fear that something's going to happen to them, and that's a huge part, and something that you should know that you're being manipulated. So if someone's like saying, "Hey, you have to do this," or you better do this, or something bad's going to happen, that's a red flag that you should automatically be thinking about. A reward. Unfortunately, there's a lot of people that are in, they're in financial hardships, or they're curious and they're wanting to earn some money or kind of wanting to look through it, and they'll start inputting a little bit of data just to kind of go along with it and see what's going on. But unfortunately, just a little bit of data is enough to kind of start getting poached by bigger, threat actors later on that can really manipulate that data to hurt you. So when you see something that, hey, you got a $500 gift card, if you follow these things, you should be really weary of it. As it says, nothing's free in the world, and that's how you need to kind of treat phishing attempts on you. Here's some phishing by the numbers. So there's 3.4 billion phishing emails per day. That's an absurd amount of different emails that are getting sent out. 1 in 3 adults are getting hit with a phishing link. So 33% of us are actually getting, taken advantage of when it comes to phishing. I've been taking advantage of phishing in the past and everything, and even as much research as you do and what you look for, they're getting very convincing. So the best thing to do is be wary of what they're asking for. If they're asking for user information or whatever, I typically go and I research it on my own behalf. I go on their own website, I call the people. Never call the number that's in a text message. Always call the company. So do these small things will protect you greatly when it comes to phishing attempts or smishing or cushing. So these are all different things. 36% of all data breaches. Phishing is that number one initial attack that gets data. And then this is a really good rule to follow. It's a 3-second survival pause. So this is 3 seconds when you open an email, text message, just to kind of refrain from just clicking and actually read what's going on. Read who it's from, read what the message is about. Don't click links. Look at the link before you click the link, whatever. If you're unsure with the sender, don't click anything in it. You don't want to do any of that kind of stuff. So just take that 3 seconds to really look at that email. So in the jungle, the animals that survive are not the strongest. They're the ones who pause before they drink. That momentary hesitation is instinct, and it saves lives. So here's some 5 rules of the digital trail, how to develop your predator sense. Remember to do that 3-second pause before you click, scan, or reply. Did I expect this? That's a big question that you should ask. Did I expect this email from the sender? If not, you should definitely treat it as like maybe a phishing attempt, especially if it looks a little weird or kind of out of the normal way you operate. Never click the link. Always type that address directly into the browser. Even then, I use Google or I go to the actual page it's trying to do before I click a link or anything. You don't want to do that. You can preview those QR codes, like I was saying, when you're hovering your phone over that QR code to scan it. It's going to show you a link below, and how you actually go to it is you'd click it. You can look at that link, but the big thing is I would just go to the QR code. I would go to the website directly and do the research on my own and not follow some sort of link, just because it's a little more convenient. It takes you like 1, 2, or 3 more seconds to actually go to the website and do it yourself. So call back using a number you look up. So if a bank reaches out to you or something of that nature, or something gets you like a notice or something, go onto the bank or whatever website and actually get their contact information. You call them with that number and not the number that they called you or used in that message. This will get rid of a lot of that 3-way kind of thing they're trying to do. They're trying to get you to a call center that they can get information from you, and not actually to a legit site. So be very suspicious about numbers they give you in messages for whoever. Report any suspicious text to 7726 spam. This is a pro tip. I use my contacts and I put a contact as spam, and I just forward the text message to the spam department for your carrier. Each carrier has a different kind of way they handle spam. But if you forward that message to that spam, they're going to tell you what you should do. They'll tell you like, hey, give me your phone number, or the person that sent you that message, what number they used, and then sometimes they'll ask you for the information, like the body of the text, and that way they can identify it on their network. Apple and Google, a lot of times they'll have a little link at the bottom that says report spam. That's a great way to do that, and that eliminates a lot of it for your other people using the network. So it's really good. So the takeaways from today's class, we went over all the different ways that people are being predators, or threat actors are being predators these days, with phishing, smishing, and cushing. So just take those little steps that you can, and really think about how people are sending you information, because you don't want them to take advantage of your privacy. So next week we're going to be talking about camouflage and mimicry. We're going to talk about safe browsing, fake sites, and SEO poisoning. We're going to be talking about the HTTPS padlock myth. A lot of times people just put everything like, hey, it's got a padlock, it's a good source. Well, not necessarily. So we're going to be talking about that next week when we talk about camouflage and mimicry with our continued series when it comes to navigating the digital wild. If you need help with your home environment or business, we're happy to help you. We provide EDR solutions. That's a little bit more advanced malware signature and file analyst. It does, instead of just doing the signature whenever you download a file, it actually does behavior. So a lot of times that a lot of these threat actors are making malicious software, and it's bypassing the signature of the file being polymorphic. And so you want something that looks more at the behavior. Why is it doing this, and things of that nature. So it's a really good tool to have, and it'll protect your devices. Really good thing. We do real-time threat detection and ransomware file rollback. So we have network monitoring and things of that nature, so we can really get a good instance in your home set up. We do rollback for ransomware, and that's with backups and snapshots. But all this works kind of in conjunction. So backup is very good, but you should also have an EDR and something to kind of detect some malicious actors on your network and things before they actually go in to start trying to ransomware and do things. So if you can stop them before sending your information out, that's the best. And then if something does happen, having a backup solution is really, really important. So if you need remote support, we do $45 a month. We have a dedicated tech contact. So if you're getting common issues all the time and you're looking for needing some support throughout the month, we do that. It's a lot cheaper to actually do a subscription versus one-time instance. It's about 50% less. So it's something to think about if you need dedicated tech, or you're not used to, or need some help with some of these newer style advanced systems and everything. So the more you save, the more you bundle, the more you save with multi-device discounts. It's something that we do for the more you start bundling. So if you start getting more and more services, of course, we're going to try to do what we can to make sure it's as cheap as possible. So if you need any help with anything, you can always ask us. Go into the comments and do a question. If you like the class or whatever, just give us a like on it. If there's something I can improve on, just let me know. I'm a little nervous and still new to it, so I'm trying to work out that, but I appreciate you joining and hope you have a good rest of your day.